You thought Elon Musk just quietly stepped away from Donald Trump's administration? You thought it was just a disagreement over climate change? Think again, because what really happened behind closed doors might change the way you see both of them forever. This is the untold story of Elon Musk and Donald Trump, the alliance, the fracture, and the silent war that followed. In early 2017, when Donald Trump took office, few expected to see Elon Musk, the tech visionary, joining a business advisory council. Trump, the real estate mogul turned president. Musk, the futuristic billionaire pushing electric cars and Mars colonization. Different worlds, different ideologies. But at first, there was hope. Musk believed he could influence policy from the inside. He joined Trump's manufacturing jobs initiative, hoping to promote innovation, sustainability, and future-oriented industries. There were meetings, smiles, even tweets of praise. And behind the scenes, Musk pushed for green energy, better infrastructure, and smart automation. But the alliance was uneasy. It didn't take long for tensions to rise. Trump began rolling back environmental regulations. He questioned climate science, proposed cuts to science funding, pulled the U.S. out of the Paris Climate Agreement. Within hours, Musk tweeted, "I'm departing presidential councils. Climate change is real. Leaving Paris is not good for America or the world." The alliance was officially broken, but the story doesn't end there, because what followed was a subtle but powerful power shift. Musk didn't just leave. He escalated. Tesla ramped up production. SpaceX accelerated rocket launches. Neuralink and the Boring Company surged forward. Musk became louder, sharper, bolder. He spoke out on Twitter, criticized policies, and positioned himself as a counterweight to political stagnation. And as Trump's presidency grew more chaotic, Musk's influence grew global. While one man tweeted policies, the other launched rockets. Two different kinds of power, two very different futures. Insiders say the split wasn't as clean as it looked. Trump reportedly felt betrayed. Some allies of the former president began distancing from Musk's ventures. Subtle blocks, delayed permits, media friction. Musk responded not with politics, but with progress. He turned to Texas, built gigafactories, launched Starlink. He made himself uncancelable, and the more he innovated, the more people began to see him as something different. Not just a CEO, but a force. Yet, the shadow of that alliance never disappeared. To this day, questions remain. What deals were made behind closed doors? What did Musk see that made him walk away? Today, Trump is running again. And Musk? He's shaping digital communication through X, formerly Twitter, advancing AI, and redefining transportation. The two men occasionally comment on each other, sometimes with respect, sometimes with silence. Could they ever join forces again? Unlikely, but in a world where power shifts fast and alliances are tactical, never say never. So what really happened between Elon Musk and Donald Trump? The answer isn't simple. It's a tale of ambition, vision, conflict, and legacy. One thing is certain. When two giants walk different roads, the world watches. And if history tells us anything, it's that both men are far from finished. Stay curious. Stay critical. This is Musk Universe, and this was just the beginning. But here's what you didn't see. Behind closed doors, discussions were more tense than we imagined. Sources close to the matter suggest that Musk raised concerns not just about climate policies, but about data privacy, innovation, roadblocks, and the direction of America's tech future. Musk reportedly pitched federal support for nationwide electric charging stations, AI governance, and infrastructure for reusable rockets. Trump, focused on short-term economic optics, dismissed many of those proposals. That moment, insiders say, was the real turning point. Not a tweet, not a summit, but a room full of disagreement about where the future should go. Musk wasn't just leaving Trump. He was leaving an entire system that refused to adapt. And he's still leaving it. Today, he builds from the outside. Not through legislation, but through invention. Maybe that's why so many follow him. Not because he is always right, but because he is always building. And in a world full of noise, builders speak the loudest. So wherever Elon Musk goes next, the world will follow. Not just out of curiosity, but because deep down, we know that sometimes the future isn't decided in voting booths or boardrooms. It's decided in silence, in vision, and in code. Because code is language. Code is power. Pei. It's how you shape the invisible into something tangible. Pei. How you build bridges between machines, ideas, and people, without ever raising your voice. Musk understood that early. While the world debated politics, he wrote architecture. While governments argued over emissions, he built the vehicles that didn't need gasoline. While regulators questioned AI, he launched it. This is the game Musk plays, not on the battlefield, but in the sandbox of systems, where rules are rewritten and old models are replaced by something better, faster, smarter. And that's why some fear him. Because he's not just challenging the status quo, he's outpacing it. And in doing so, he's exposing its weaknesses. He's showing us that institutions built decades ago can't contain minds born in the future. And maybe that's the real conflict. It was never just Trump versus Musk. It was institution versus innovation. System versus speed. Tradition versus transformation. Trump played power like a showman. Musk plays it like a coder. Where Trump sought applause, Musk seeks progress. Where Trump builds walls, Musk builds tunnels. Quite literally. And the audience? We're just beginning to realize we're not watching a show. We're watching a shift. A transition of power. Not from one man to another, but from old thinking to something else entirely. And if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it, because it doesn't happen with explosions. It happens in silence, in code pushed at 2 a.m., in satellites launching from oceans, in neural signals decoded into data. This is the language of the next era, and Elon Musk is one of its first true natives. That's why he's controversial. That's why he's polarizing, because he's not from the past. He's building the future, in real time. So the next time you see a headline, Musk tweets again, Musk challenges authority, Musk walks away. Look deeper. You're not seeing rebellion. You're seeing evolution, the kind that doesn't wait for permission. And in a world where power is shifting from institutions to individuals, from governments to platforms, from promises to prototypes, only one question remains. Are you ready for what's next? Because Musk isn't waiting. He never has. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly why the world follows him. Not because he's perfect. Not because he's predictable, but because, like all true pioneers, he moves before the map is drawn. He moves before the map is drawn. Because visionaries don't follow paths, they make them. They look at what exists, the politics, the systems, the rules, and they ask, what if? What if cars didn't need fuel? And I ask, what if rockets were reusable? And I ask, what if humans could interface directly with machines? What if we stopped waiting for permission and started building the world we dream about? That's the essence of Musk's journey. It's not about being liked. It's not even about being understood. It's about momentum, creation, disruption. And in that chaos comes clarity. While politicians argue over borders, Musk launches starships. While corporations fear risk, he takes it head-on. While the world looks backward, he dares to imagine what's next. And that imagination? It's contagious. It's what inspired millions to buy electric, to believe in Mars, to code, to build, to question everything they've been told about how the world should work. Because here's the truth. We've reached the edge of the old world. The models that ruled the 20th century are crumbling. Traditional politics, traditional media, traditional leadership. They no longer hold the same power. Power now lives in innovation, in platforms, in code, in people willing to break the rules and rewrite them better. And whether you agree with Musk or not, you can't ignore what he represents. He's not just one man. He's a symbol of frustration, of hope, of the desire to build something more honest, more efficient, more real. And that's why the story of Musk and Trump matters. Because it marks a shift from performative leadership to productive leadership, from tweets made for headlines to code written for humanity. It's not a rivalry. It's a mirror. Trump reflected the fears of a nation. Musk reflects its possibilities. And in that contrast, in that divide, we find the question we all have to face. Who do we want leading the future? Those who hold on to the past? Or those who dare to create something new? The choice, as always, is ours. But the future? It's already under construction. And the blueprints? They're not filed in offices. They're written in algorithms, launched on rockets, buried deep in code. They're written in algorithms, launched on rockets, buried deep in code. And maybe that's why it feels so unsettling. Because change like this doesn't ask for approval. It doesn't knock. It kicks the door down. It makes us uncomfortable. It challenges our systems, our politics, even our identity. Because Musk isn't just changing industries. He's changing expectations, what we expect from leaders, what we expect from progress, what we expect from the future itself, in a world that rewards comfort and compliance. Musk represents risk, raw, unfiltered risk, and yet he keeps moving. Not because he's certain, but because he's committed to the mission, to the experiment, to the idea that humans can be more than just consumers. We can be creators, we can build, we can rebuild. We can dream bigger than borders, tribes, and timelines. And maybe that's why the system couldn't contain him. Maybe that's why he had to walk away. Not in anger, but in clarity. Because while the world watches the stage, he's backstage, rewriting the script. And when the curtain falls on the old systems, he'll be somewhere no one thought to look, already building what's next. So whether you agree with his politics, his tweets, or his choices, one thing is undeniable. Elon Musk isn't waiting for the future. He's pulling it closer, day by day, line by line, launch by launch. And the question is no longer, will he do it? The question is, will the rest of us keep up? Because history doesn't remember the comfortable. It remembers the bold, the builders, the disruptors. And in this moment, when the old world is creaking and the new one is rising, we all have a role to play. Not just to watch, but to participate, to ask better questions, to build better answers. Because the next revolution won't be televised. It'll be uploaded. And if you blink, you might just miss it. So stay awake, stay hungry, stay building. This is Musk Universe. And the story has only just begun. The story has only just begun. Because stories like this, they don't end. They evolve. They shift. They ripple through time. Elon Musk isn't just part of this moment. He's shaping the next, not as a politician, not as a philosopher, but as something rarer, a doer, a thinker, a builder who dares to dream dangerously. He knows the cost of thinking different, of acting fast, of being misunderstood. But he keeps moving forward, because history isn't written by those who waited. It's written by those who built while the world slept. And in every era, there's a figure who doesn't fit the mold, because they're not meant to. Jobs, Tesla, Da Vinci, and now Musk. Not perfect, not polished, but visionary. They don't speak the language of comfort. They speak the language of change. And change is never quiet. It comes roaring through culture, through criticism, through controversy. But beneath all the noise, there's truth. The truth that humanity is at a crossroads. One road leads to repetition, the other to reinvention. And Musk, he's already halfway down that second road. Alone, maybe, but further than most have ever dared to go. So this isn't about liking him. It's about recognizing what he represents. A crack in the system, a signal from the future. A challenge to all of us to stop scrolling, to start thinking, to stop consuming, and start creating. Because the greatest power we have isn't in votes, or titles, or likes. It's in the ability to imagine, and then make that imagination real. That's what separates the watchers from the builders, the skeptics from the revolutionaries. So ask yourself, which one are you? Because the next chapter is already being written. And whether you're ready or not, the future is launching. Not perfect, not polished, but visionary. They don't speak the language of comfort. They speak the language of change. And change is never quiet. It comes roaring through culture, through criticism, through controversy. But beneath all the noise, there's truth. The truth that humanity is at a crossroads. One road leads to repetition, the other to reinvention. And Musk? He's already halfway down that second road. Alone, maybe, but further than most have ever dared to go. So this isn't about liking him. It's about recognizing what he represents. A crack in the system, a signal from the future. A challenge to all of us, to stop scrolling, to start thinking, to stop consuming, and start creating. Because the greatest power we have isn't in votes or titles.